Hi, I'm Mike Massimino. For the past few shuttle flights, we've taken you behind the scenes to meet the crews as they train for their flights and the people around the country who make those missions fly. But there's a lot of footage that we haven't shown you yet, so we'd like to take you back to some of our recent flights and introduce you to more of the people who do everything at NASA. We hope you enjoy this episode of NASA Behind the Scenes. So you've hung up their clothes, their spacesuits. Here they are, all 7 of them. You can see with the flags on the left side, including the Japanese flag for Naoko. So we have 6 Americans in Naoko.
This is the pilot for the mission.
This is Jimmy Dutton.
This is Jim Dutton, and this is his actual. This is the actual suit he will fly in. And it has been prepped and leak checked in Houston. And then after we arrive here, we do another leak check here. And then on fit check day, Jim gets in the suit and he makes sure it fits.
When was
properly.
that?
That was last night, as a matter
Last night, okay.
Yeah. For Jim, because in addition to the fit checks, Jim and Commander Alan Poindexter, they have the opportunity to fly STA flights, which simulate the landing approach that they will do on the actual
shuttle training aircraft, right?
So they get to train in their actual
space
hardware.
Right. So you had to suit him up yesterday, last night.
Correct.
And he went out to the airplane and flew practice approaches.
Correct.
Wearing all this stuff.
Correct.
Because that's what they're. I mean, it's a lot different wearing that than wearing your flight suit.
Right,
right.
So we get makes the training more realistic, and then makes it most beneficial for them.
Having the helmet on to restrict what they can see, and the gloves on his hand on the controller and all that.
Visor down, go on oxygen supply.
The whole bit, just like they're going to do on the shuttle. All right.
This is the pilot's actual flight helmet.
This is the real helmet.
This is his real helmet.
Not the ones we practice with in Houston.
Correct. This is the one that he's actually going to fly with. Although for training purposes, we install a training sunshade just to protect the clear visor. We don't want him to scratch the clear visor. So on flight day, we will remove this sunshade, install a brand new sunshade. But the helmet itself is just as you see it here. It will fly in space.
All right. The real thing.
These are his actual flight gloves. They've already been leak tested, and he wore them last night on his flight training on STA. And this is his comm cap, which is worn inside the helmet. This contains the microphones and earphones that he will use to fly on launch day. All
real stuff. Now, one interesting thing here, Ray, we've seen this other times too, is that each crew member has a color, so we know it's whose stuff. And so Jim, being the pilot, right, John, is going to be, Jimmy's going to be yellow. Yes. So his bag has yellow on it. His gloves have a yellow marker somewhere. There you go.
Right here.
And his helmet
also has a yellow color code.
And for the colorblind, it also has the letter B on the helmet, right?
Yes.
You can see that as the letter B, which means the second guy. So Dex, the commander, is A, and then Jimmy's B, and then so on and so forth. So.
This is the harness that they will wear on flight day. This is the actual flight item that they will wear. It has their parachute harness that they will connect to their parachute.
And this is Dottie stuff, I see, because it's green, right? And she's the MS too. All right.
She's green.
Okay.
So
you were saying the
parachute is in the orbiter. The actual flight parachutes are not here. Although we do have spares, and I can show you one of those.
Okay. But that's the harness that you were saying.
That Dottie will wear on launch day. On launch day, and it contains a number of emergency equipment items that she will fly with, and hopefully not need, but she will have it with her just in case.
Right. And what has she got?
I can show you a couple of those.
Yeah, show us what you can.
She has an oxygen bottle that contain a minimum of 10 minutes of pure oxygen.
All right.
She has a life preserver. So in case something happens and they can't make it back to the landing site, they have the capability to bail out over open water. And we have a life preserver that's built into the harness here. And we also have water packs. For survival water, we have emergency drinking water.
Because you need water.
That's absolutely right.
So if you're stuck out in the middle of the ocean, you got to drink. You can't drink the seawater.
Correct.
You got to drink that stuff.
It could be a little while before the rescue forces come and get her, so she needs a little something to drink. It's absolutely important that
Yeah.
she has that.
But there are rescue forces out there ready to come get us. Or come
Absolutely.
get these, and it should be pretty quick, right? But it may take a while. It'll be the open ocean, but there are people ready to come get us if we need it.
Every astronaut carries an emergency beacon so they can be found rapidly, and they also have the survival radio so they can speak directly to the rescue forces.
Right.
Absolutely essential items for emergency only.
Right. All right. What's that blue thing you just put on there?
This is a comfort pad. Every astronaut has a comfort pad that they wear on their back because they're going to be, since they're launching in the vertical position, they're going to be laying on their backs for a couple of hours. Sometimes it's not easy, but this back pad makes it a little more comfortable, so they can concentrate on their jobs and not concentrate on the pain that they're having in the shoulders.
This is what you guys wear.
This is what we wear on launch day.
All right, that's John's.
That'll be mine, yep.
All right, now explain something. This is not your usual set of clothes. So what are some of the interesting characteristics of this fancy jumpsuit you got there?
Well, besides the fact that it doesn't fit very well, but it is kind of comfortable.
All right.
The reason why it has all the green stripes on here, these are pull takers. So we can just grab it and pull if we're down, or let's say an accident happened on the pad and we need to get out of there. Your friends or colleagues can grab you and drag you away from any danger that you have.
Okay.
The reason why we have numbers on these is so the LCC, the Launch Control Center, NTD.
NTD is NASA Test Director.
Right.
The person who's kind of running the show.
Right.
The launch.
That direct us to do certain things
Right.
up
Okay.
there on the pad. But they need to know who we are, and since our name tags are really small and we don't have one on the back,
right,
they need to know really quick who we are. So we have numbers back there, and each number designates who you are and what you do up there on the pad.
It's like a ball player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like a number 3 is a suit tech, and he works on the mid deck. He'll be strapping in the mid deck. You have a number 1 who's an OVCC, the Orbiter Vehicle Crew Chief, and he's the one that's overall in charge of all the closeout crew.
All right.
The number 2 is an astronaut, or an ASP, as we call it. That's ASP.
Astronauts, because that's astronaut support personnel.
And he's the guy who's going to be inside there assisting with switch throwing for the astronauts, making sure that all the switches are correct, reading a checklist, doing comm checks with the astronauts after they're strapped in, and dealing with all their needs that they need prior to liftoff.
Right.
The number 3 will be in the flight deck, strapping in the pilot, commander, MS-1, and MS-2.
That's you.
And that would be me on this flight.
All right.
The 4 and 5, they're the hatch techs. They're the ones that will be closing the hatch.
Ooh, they got to close the door.
They got to close the door.
Do they have the key as well?
They should
They
have the key,
lock the door?
They got somewhat of a key.
Okay.
The number 7 is another suit tech, and he's strapping in the mid deck, which is MS-5, 6, and 7 in this case.
Right.
That will be Ray Cuevas.
That's right there.
Right there.
All right. Okay, number 7, like Mickey Mantle.
Right.
That's right.
There you go.
And then the number 6, which I forgot, is the NASA quality. He's the one that's making sure all the paperwork and all the jobs are done to the checklist. So those are the 7 people on the pad that you'll see in the white room.
In addition to the spacesuits, we also prep some miscellaneous things so they can have it right there handy on launch day. So whatever.
So he's got. So let's look what he's got. Let's look a little closer here because we've got some cool stuff here. This is going to be on his. It's a strap like this, so it goes on his leg, right?
Yes, it goes around.
So that's going to strap around his leg. We call it a knee board because it's kind of on your knee.
And he's got some pens and pencils.
But these are not your average. I mean, this is kind of like a regular pencil, right? But look, it's got some special features. It's got
It's actually pretty ordinary. This is the kind of thing you can.
But it's got a lanyard on it.
It has a Nomex lanyard.
Yeah.
And has some hook Velcro taped to it. But other than that, it's just an ordinary pencil that anybody can buy in a store.
Yeah.
I don't see it as being really any different.
But what you need to do is because it's going to float, and so you don't lose it. I lose pens and pencils all the time on the Earth. In space, it's easier to lose it because it's going to float away from you. So you have it on a lanyard, you can't lose it, and you have the Velcro so you can stick it to another matching piece of Velcro so that it'll stay put. So
That's one of the first things astronauts learn, is that things float away by themselves. So
Right.
they learn in training and through the experience of others to
Right.
tip and tether things down so they don't move.
But it really becomes obvious when you get there and your
Right.
stuff's floating everywhere.
Yes.
And you got a flashlight as well.
Yes.
And that flashlight, of course, is on a lanyard with
This
Velcro.
flashlight is basically the same type of flashlight that you can buy in a store, but it has an extra feature built into it. We've replaced the normal cap that goes on the back of the flashlight
Right.
with a specially made device that's used to pull on circuit breakers. So
Yeah.
he can take this flashlight and not only use it as an ordinary flashlight, he can turn it around, use
Yeah.
the back
Use it
end
as
of
a
the
tool.
flashlight as a tool
Yeah.
to throw switches, pull on
Yeah.
circuit breakers,
Yeah.
and a couple of other miscellaneous things that you can use this.
It's a very good idea.
Yeah, it's a two-in-one thing, and it works very well, and
Yeah.
it's easy to use, and it's always there. So
Right.
that's why it's so popular.
And the gold clips.
The famous gold clips, yes.
Yeah.
These are just ordinary paper clips. With all the computer technology that we have, we still have lots of paper floating around. They
Yeah.
have a lot of paper instructions, paper procedures, and they need paper clips in space just like we do here on Earth. So,
Yeah.
and this is what they use. They have Velcro on them so they can attach them to a wall and they won't float away. And they're nice and big so they can hold lots of paper.
Yeah.
And the astronauts use these very frequently.
Yeah. It's the little things that we need to keep you able to work like you do on the Earth, so stuff don't float away from you. You know, you can keep track of what you're doing. All that stuff is very important.
Correct.
We take lots of that stuff.
Lots of that
All
stuff.
right. What else we got, Ray?
We have a stowage bag, and this is the bag that the commander will use to stow his helmet. After he gets on orbit, he's going to take off his helmet, and he has to put it somewhere. So this is a bag that he's going to use to put his helmet in and stow it, because he won't need it again until it's time for him to come home.
Right.
So he needs to put it somewhere.
Right.
And this is the bag that he's going to use to stow his helmet, gloves, and CCA.
CCA is his comm cap.
His comm cap.
Right.
That's correct. This is a headset that they'll use on orbit. After they get in space, they can remove their helmet and CCA and just use this lightweight headset for communications purposes.
All right.
But they don't need it for launch, so they just carry it with them.
All right. Okay, and we've got timers. We'll let you
Timers,
put
just
that away
ordinary,
first. So-
kitchen-style timers
Right.
that anybody can buy, but they come in handy for a multitude of different reasons.
Because a lot of things we do are on time. The things that, you do this at this time, and you can set up a little alarm, or you want to time how long something takes. Because then, do something and 30 seconds later do something else. You have all these little timers to help you do that.
Correct, and it also,
excellent.
in addition to the time, it also has a clock built in, so you can use that as
See what
a
time it
watch.
is. So you know what time it is.
Correct.
All right. And then you've got your, so you have a mirror
Mirror,
as well.
the commander has requested a mirror, and we will stow this in the orbiter for him.
Right.
And the mirror comes in handy because after they get in their seat, if they drop something, they can use the mirror to go
To
and
see
look
where,
for it.
yeah, he's not necessarily, he probably doesn't need that because he wants to, he's worried about his appearance.
No,
He's
not
worried,
at all.
it's a useful tool
It's a
because
useful tool.
you can't see so well around the helmet, so you need a mirror to show you what's going on behind
needs the
you.
mirror to-
Or to get some of the switches too, I bet you behind him that he can't see necessarily that
Absolutely.
kind of over his shoulder. He can use that mirror to make sure he's got his hand in the right place to get the right switch. Yeah.
These are what we call portable suit testers. They don't look very portable, but these are the testers that we use to do our final leak checks with the crew. When the crew comes in on launch morning, they'll walk in wearing their liquid-cooled underwear. They'll be suited right here in this room, in this chair. The commander
So this is
will
one
sit
of the big
in this
chairs.
Yeah,
How long have they used
big
these chairs for?
chair.
Did Neil Armstrong sit in that chair?
I don't think Neil Armstrong did, but I'm
think he was
willing
in
to
this
bet
room.
that John.
He was in this room.
Yes.
So-
The Apollo astronauts did suit up in this room, but
So-
the configuration of the room is very different.
So let's just get this straight. Before any shuttle astronaut has ever gone to space, and prior to that, any moonwalking Apollo astronaut or any Apollo era astronaut, before they went and made that famous walk out to the launch pad and got in their Saturn V rocket on Apollo 11 or any of the moon flights or any of the shuttle flights,
Correct.
they were in this room.
This same very.
In this room is where the
As a matter of
day
fact,
started for
If you
them.
look over here on the wall, we don't use these connections anymore, but That's the reason for these extra pipes here. They used to have the test stands built into the wall here.
Uh-huh.
And the Apollo astronauts had couches, and this wall did not exist. I was told that this wall,
That
the room
wall
was
there.
much bigger then, but
Okay.
the test equipment was hooked up to those bulkheads there. And,
Okay.
but this whole facility was used for the same purpose it's being used now.
So they all came in here. Neil Armstrong, Neil, Buzz, and Mike Collins were all in here getting ready to go to the moon on Apollo 11, just like shuttle astronauts today get to come into this room and
That's right.
on the morning of the launch and get ready to go. Pretty historic, wouldn't you say? Pretty cool room.